guys know that backs on backers is always a featured drill. Really, we're just trying to check the mentality and the technique of the runners, man. You're not afforded the opportunity to warm up the quarterback protection, and so we're always interested in how that group represents itself in that drill. I thought they did a really nice job.
Hi, everybody. Happy Pads Day, as Max Starks called it earlier on our first show. This is the training camp wrap-up show presented by UPMC Health Plan and Missi Matthews. In for Mike Pursuta, Craig Wolfley joining me. And there you hear Coach Tomlin talking about backs on backers. Said the tape that they have today from the first day in full pads is gold, and they're probably in their dorms right now, wherever they're with their different position coaches, going over some of that because it was a 10:30 practice again this morning.
Unquestionably so, Missy, and some are cheering and some are well, maybe self-booing. But it's all on tape, and it's important because this is a starting point. You can't get anywhere where you want to go until you get that starting point. This is a starting point.
In terms of backs on backers, there were a few matchups that I think a lot of people were hoping for that we had a chance to see. So, Wolf, what did you make of what you were able to catch?
There's a number of them. Of course, we were doing our show during that time. It was really funny because, you're sitting there and you're making a point with Max. So Max started talking along and you go, oh, did you see that? There's these like bursts of, action that happens in front of you and you can't help. It's like squirrel here and there. And so, but, the one guy that comes out right away is Jaylen Warren, number 30. Jaylen Warren's a bully. He's a backs-on-backs bully. That's what he is. Love it. I saw him over in the locker room after, and I said, what do you do, man? You get all jacked up for that thing? And he's just kind of, his quiet self. But let me tell you something. This guy is he is like one of those guards that pop up, at a parking lot, and it just, if the car hits it, it ain't moving. And that's what he's like. He's like one of those big posts that come up out of the ground. He is really something.
And we had a chance to see him go against Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson.
Exactly so. And he put he was tooth and nail with each and every one of them. That was really great to see because he is just a stud. He's strong. Peyton Wilson's another guy that caught my eye. He comes with a lot of bang. If we even going on to team, he showed up a lot in team also. But, this young man is just eye-catching with his speed, his reflexes, his desire. It's almost like if you stand near him, you can feel a little pulsing desire come out. His intensity rises. And it certainly is one of those guys that stands out in any sort of drill. And certainly Patrick Queen Patrick Queen's Patrick Queen, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was just probably waiting to get those pads on. You could just tell.
There's no question about it. The dude is a hitter. No doubt about it. And when he gets out on the field, he really applies his art very, very well.
I like the fact that Coach Tomlin had Najee Harris and Landon Roberts start off the backs on backers drill, and they won a few times, and that just seems appropriate and probably the matchup that he had picked probably 3 months ago.
I think you're exactly right. You're exactly right, Missy. I love to call Landon Roberts by his nickname, which is 23andMe, because he's one of those guys that hits you so very hard. His DNA is going to show up on your family ancestry when you go 23andMe. Who's this guy, Landon Roberts? On my family. You know what I mean? But that's the way he is. He just hits people so hard. And Najee was true to the task. He's very strong. Guy dropped some weight, lost a little size, but still very, very strong. And they went at it. It was a good battle between them.
All right, you mentioned Jaylen Warren, and we're going to hear from him in just a little bit later in our show. Rob King had a chance to catch up with him following the first day in pads, but we have to talk about Russell Wilson, able to do a little bit more today, had the helmet on, full pads, and I think, Wolf, this is what people have been waiting for. It was not a full participation in terms of practice for him, but it was a step in the right direction.
When he lobbed that one down to Connor Hayward and hit him right between the eyes, I thought the old man still got the magic. That was a beauty of a throw right down the middle, and I just enjoyed it. You can see professionalism in all facets of his preparation. As he goes about his business on the field, the way he checks in with his teammates, with his coaches, the way he prepares. Then he comes out, and there's not wasted motion, not wasted energy. He's just one of these guys that is a definite be there, done that sort of guy, and he goes about and does it in a way that I don't know. It raises the confidence level of those around him. I mean, it's one of those things, those kind of attributes that it's hard to put a quantifier on. But when you're in the huddle with him, from what I understand and just observing him, he raises the level of people around him. In every locker room I've ever been in, there's always adders, subtractors, multipliers, and dividers. And I really believe that 3 is going to be a multiplier.
Having a chance to see him in 7-on-7, not a ton of 11-on-11, as Coach Tomlin was confirming after practice. You know, even after practice, Russell Wilson is always out on the field working on something or working with someone. Today we saw him with George Pickens. This is when practice is well over. And Wolf, when I got to lunch, they were still together going to have lunch. So it was a conversation that started on the field, continued over to lunchtime, and you can tell that he's spending time like that with all of the different skill players as well.
And that's so very important because you want that sort of communication that exists. I don't know what it is with quarterbacks and wide receivers. You know, sometimes it's like I've said before, they got that ESPN thing, mental telepathy going on, and they're able to communicate in a way that us hogs, you know, we were all verbal. You know,
The grunting.
The grunting, yes, exactly.
A different language.
Yes, it's a different language entirely. And quarterbacks communicate with the backs and wide receivers, especially the wide receivers, the hand signs, the gestures. And there's just times when you look at somebody, you know what they're thinking, you know what they're doing. And that comes from spending time up here in training camp when you're ad nauseum around each other all the time and people start to get a little dry on the inside and say, you know, when's camp going to be over? But that's what it's all about. It's about staying together, making that commitment to be here and understanding that you're building a relationship with a teammate and it's going to provide a basis for what's going to happen in the future.
All right, well, we do not need to guess on what Russell Wilson thought of his first practice in pads with the Steelers. Let's take a listen to him post-practice.
I think the biggest thing is just listening to the trainers and following what they have for me. Whatever I can do extra, I'm doing it, you know, if I can do it on the field. They know that, and they're just trying to make sure that I'm smart as possible, not doing anything that's going to, make it worse.
And we should also say that the weather has cleared up again here at St. Vincent College. It rained, then they had practice. It was hot and humid. It rained again, and it's hot and humid again.
Yes, exactly so. The very first time as a rookie up here on these fields when I was praying for rain to come in, it was 90-plus degrees. You could see the storm clouds coming, and it rained for about 3 minutes, and then it was a sauna. That's the last time I prayed for rain up here.
All right, and an unfortunate injury to report. Coach Tomlin said that rookie wide receiver Roman Wilson injured his ankle today during practice, and it was one of those moments that I instantly thought, oh, man, Corey Trice was a rookie last year, first full day in pads. That's when he got hurt. We don't know the severity, and Coach Tomlin said they'd have to meet with the doctors and trainers to figure that out, but not what you want to see for a guy who was really starting to find his stride since we arrived in Latrobe.
Unquestionably so. You know, the young man has really made some nice moves out there, cut some nice balls over the middle, to the outside, even deep. And the fact is, you look for him to expand upon that. This is the opportunity where you grow into the position. You start to create separation from others for yourself as you try to carve out that niche of a position for yourself. And then when you suffer something like this, it's going to set you back. But, you know, this is where a good pro learns the mental reps. He understands what he's got to accomplish. He's got to be on the rehab therapy stuff. And, hopefully it's just a minor speed bump in the career of this young man.
We'll find out practice again tomorrow morning at 10:30. We also had a chance to hear from Russell Wilson talking about Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, so let's take a listen.
The thing about Najee has been really cool is his time that he wants to spend together, you know, his time that he came out here, him and Jaylen came out here with me, one night and just they wanted to join and walk through, just go through plays with me. And that kind of time is really critical. I think just that obsession with the game, that's the good part about being out here in Latrobe and just being in the mix of just training camp and learning every day. And so the physicality showed up today. I think, you saw that from Najee, you saw that from Jaylen, our offensive line.
And Wolf, Najee and Jaylen, both two guys who have to love what Arthur Smith is starting to construct in terms of what he wants this offense to look like, the physicality and just the O-line that has been rebuilt in front of them.
Unbelievably so. I mean, as I see this thing starting to get some traction and you watch those wide zones take effect and then you see it when they plant that foot and they make a cut, it's exciting to watch. And you watch the backside because backsides are so very important. If you don't get the job done we used to call ourselves when, like, back in the day, Tunch-Ilkin was Pro Bowl tackle, ran a lot of right-handed, so we called ourselves the All-Pro cutoff side. On the backside, we were the backside boys. And the thing about it is, you've got to make sure that you pay attention to your detail because you got to get that little angle that creates that backside cutoff, then slide up to the second level with somebody if you scoop or whatever the blocking scheme calls for. It's those details that create big plays, and it starts right here, right now in training camp.
And I think especially with Russ not being able to be a full participant, which he was all of spring through OTAs and mini camp, it's great to see that even if it's after practice or at night or before practice, he's getting that one-on-one with the different position groups. And as I had told you earlier, Rob King caught up with Jaylen Warren following the first practice in pads.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Jaylen, first of all, first day in pads, what was it like?
It was good, come out here. I feel like that's when we can really create that chemistry with each other. That's my favorite style or my favorite part of the game is, hitting. So I was looking forward to today.
I'm sure, and the backs and backers drill a couple years ago, I think, put you on the fans' radar, certainly. How do you like that drill? And it's always fun, the fans get behind it, and then it's one-on-one in that ring.
Yeah, it really is. Like, if you lose, that's your fault. You can't blame nobody. I like that mano-a-mano, altercation part of it. And so, I look forward to that too.
Increased workload for you a season ago. Did that alter at all what you did to prepare yourself and your body for this regular season, for this training camp leading into the season?
I prepare for it all, whether I'm getting 100 reps or 0 reps. I prepare for it all, prepare like I'm getting 200 reps.
When you have a new coach come in, an offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, and he preaches physicality, just what you talked about, and he likes to run the football, how does that make you feel?
Good, because, we get to run the ball and all the things that, we like as running backs. So I'm excited.
What have you seen from that scheme so far in camp? I know we've seen a lot of 3 tight ends and going back to OTAs, but it feels like there's going to be a real emphasis on running the ball. Is that what it feels like to you as well?
Yeah, 100%.
And you've got to embrace that, right?
Yeah, I have to. We got to make it work.
So you have Russell Wilson took part in limited drills. We've seen Justin Fields out there. Are you getting comfortable with the fact that you have entirely new quarterbacks, Kyle Allen, John Rice Plumlee, and the 2 guys I just mentioned?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with them all. They're all ballers, and they all bring something to the table. So I'm excited to work with all of them.
Jaylen, thanks very much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Missy, back to you.
All right, our thanks to Rob and Jaylen. And he brought up Justin Fields, who we haven't really spoke about a lot today, but it was his first full day in pads, and he got a lot of reps with the ones again, too. What did you make of him?
Oh, again, he's just looking like that guy that we knew. Great physical attributes, and now hack away the unessentials. Get more consistency in your throwing motions and do the things that are going to take you to that next level. You see the pro in front of you, a guy like Russ Wilson. Justin Fields is very capable of being like a Russ Wilson, to be that consummate pro. It's a matter of time, a matter of repetition. And I really think for Justin, this is the optimal position for him to be in. Be with a guy like Russ Wilson, learn, grow, and let's see what you got, buddy.
All right, we do have some transactions to report in terms of the Steelers roster, which unfortunately happens during this part of training camp. We know that Rodney Williams, the tight end, is dealing with an AC sprain, so he's been out. The Steelers have signed tight end Matt Sokol and DB Kyler McMichael. They released wide receiver Marquez Callaway and also DB Josiah Scott. So unfortunately, sometimes these moves sort of happen, but when people are hurt and aren't able to go, you need a body, and the train keeps moving, as Coach Tomlin always says.
That's exactly so. Choo-choo. The train just keeps a rolling, and that's the way it is. That's training camp. And when you start getting, bangalicious here, guys coming out and whacking each other and that, what you've got is you're going to have some injuries that pop up now and then. But it's just one of those things that you have to overcome and override. And that's the nature of the NFL.
Bangalicious. I like that.
Well,
is that a new one?
Well, possibly.
Maybe.
They just come to me. I couldn't stop them if I tried.
I might have to write that one down and use it later at home.
I might have to do it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks again to Rob and Jaylen for their post-practice interview. You can watch Training Camp Live starting tomorrow at 10:30 here from St. Vincent College.